Welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you for watching. Who do you think will win in a fight between Ghost Rider and Darkseid when Hellfire meets Omega Gaze? Ghost Rider is the embodiment of divine wrath. Underneath his burning skin and flaming skull is the spirit of an avenger, usually Johnny Blaze or Robbie Reyes, carrying the flames of hell that can burn away the soul. Ghost Rider's signature weapon is his magical chain and the penance stare power, a gaze that can make his enemies feel all the sins they have committed. In addition, Ghost Rider is virtually immortal, immune to physical harm, and can summon power from hell itself. Darkseid is one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe. As the lord of the planet Apocalypse, he possesses tremendous physical strength, super intelligence, and is famous for his Omega beams, energy beams that can bend space, completely obliterating his target. More than just physical strength, Darkseid is a symbol of domination, a hunter of the anti-life equation to control all free will in the universe. Before we dive into the analysis, please click the subscribe button. Please remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. Johnny Blaze, a daredevil motorcycle racer, traded his soul in a deal with the devil Mephisto to save his dying father. From that moment on, he was forced to become the host of a vengeful spirit entity from hell, the Ghost Rider. A combination of human and demon, Blaze possesses supernatural powers. Ghost Rider possesses a terrifying array of abilities: superhuman physical strength, godlike speed and reflexes, superior endurance and healing, and supernatural intuition that can perceive good. He can purge souls, incinerate enemies with hellish fire, create firestorms, control souls, absorb them, and teleport. His main weapons are demonic chains that can change length and a demonic motorcycle that can travel on any terrain, including walls and water. The most terrifying is the Star of Repentance. The sacred gaze from Ghost Rider can make the victim see all the crimes he has committed and feel the pain of the victim. Ghost Rider once used his chain to cut an entire building in half, a brutal power that no enemy can underestimate. Ghost Rider is the embodiment of revenge and cruelty, a supernatural entity with terrifying power. When confronting Hulk, he burned the Green Giant's rage with Hellfire, a type of fire that not only burned the body but also penetrated deep into the soul. Despite his head being blown off, Ghost Rider was reborn, rising from death as an immortal ghost, challenging all the laws of life and death. No heavy machinery could imprison him, no wound could hold him back. His ghostly motorcycle is speed and power beyond time. It has been described as moving faster than Thor's Mjolnir, claiming to be on par with the god of thunder. When Ghost Rider looks at Doctor Strange with a look of repentance, nothing can save the powerful sorcerer from his terrible punishment. He once survived the combined fire of the entire Avengers, something that would be impossible for any other being. He even fired a bullet from his own teeth, an act of madness but determination. Even more terrifying is the moment Ghost Rider endured a punch from the Hulk of World War II. He did not fall, he did not retreat. Unfortunately, any holy weapon could seriously injure him. If he were in the church, Johnny would return to human form, and for all intents and purposes, he would be powerless. Ghost Rider is the judge of evil, the demon of justice. One look and the one who deserves punishment will feel the wrath of hell. Darkseid. After receiving mystical energy with the Omega effect, Prince Uses of the planet Apocalypse transformed into one of the most terrifying evil forces in the universe, Darkseid. From a power-hungry man, he became an all-powerful tyrant, ruling Apocalypse with brutality. Darkseid possesses a series of abilities: terrible physical strength, superhuman durability, lightning-fast reflexes, extremely high movement speed, near instantaneous healing ability, and true immortality. He can manipulate matter with his mind, move through space through Boom 2 portals, travel through time, communicate telepathically, and change his body size. His genius intellect serves not only military strategy, but also the exploration and exploitation of the dark secrets of the universe. Darkseid's most formidable weapon is the Omega effect, the energy that allows him to shoot Omega beams from his eyes. These fiery red beams of energy never miss their target and can incinerate enemies in an instant, or send them into a dark dimension called the Omega Sanction, where souls are trapped forever in endless chains of suffering. As a dictator, Darkseid is the embodiment of cosmic destruction. When Darkseid fully absorbs the power of the Omega effect, his true form does not exist in the normal three-dimensional space, but resides in a metaphysical dimension that only the highest cosmic entities can reach. Meanwhile, he uses countless avatars to appear and influence other realities. His greatest achievement is the creation of a destructive machine capable of defeating the entire Justice League in a single encounter. This shows that Darkseid's level of terror lies not only in his personal strength, but also in his intelligence, strategic vision, and boundless ruthlessness. Darkseid is not just a force of destruction, but the embodiment of absolute power in the universe. In a lightning-fast fight with just one punch with his weak hand, he sent Wonder Woman flying from the battlefield like a broken kite, helpless before absolute overwhelming power. No one can underestimate the power of Omega Beams, when just one shot is enough to defeat Silver Surfer, who once traveled the universe without fear. Darkseid once possessed the spirits of 3 billion souls, turning them into puppets in his cruel game. Cyborg Superman, a hybrid of machine and Kryptonian, had his soul sealed in a marble with no way out. With a reaction speed that almost surpasses the limits of perception, he can act in just a fraction of a second. Touching Calabac, his son, he incinerated everything in an instant without warning. Superman, the symbol of hope for humanity, was once struck down with a single punch, something no mortal could comprehend. And even though the combined power of a Green Lantern was poured upon him, Darkseid stood firm. He did not retreat, he did not fall. Only an eternal dark entity remained, reigning at the pinnacle of despair. Subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot, and moreover, you will see great videos every day. You are the best. Thank you very much. On the highest balcony of the palace in Apocalypse, Darkseid stood tall, his cold eyes observing the burning planet below, a place where only brutality and oppression existed. Suddenly, from a fierce explosion that erupted in the air accompanied by demonic flames, Ghost Rider appeared dramatically riding his demonic motorcycle. Hellfire engulfed the tires, leaving long burning trails on the hot steel ground as he accelerated straight towards the tyrant of Apocalypse. Johnny Blaze stepped down, his eyes burning. Darkseid frowned, clenched his powerful fist, and asked with a defiant look. Without hesitation, Ghost Rider swung the Hellfire chain into the air, preparing for punishment. Darkseid roared angrily, challenging the power of a god. Ghost Rider! In a flash, he swung his flaming chains down, lighting up the Apocalypse sky with holy fury. The flaming demonic chains tightened around Darkseid's arms like the fangs of hell. With unwavering strength and will, Ghost Rider pulled the tyrant towards him and delivered a powerful kick to his stomach, causing the sound of metal clashing to echo throughout the cold halls of the Apocalypse Palace. However, Darkseid was not easily defeated. He roared, using his terrible strength to tear the chains apart as if they were nothing more than thin threads, then immediately grabbed Ghost Rider and threw him into the air. Ghost Rider's body passed through several layers of the palace's solid black stone walls, leaving a series of smoldering holes in the fortress-like structure. He fell heavily onto the fiery ground, creating a violent collision that shook the ground. But even though his body was temporarily damaged, the flame of his soul had never cooled. Ghost Rider summoned a demonic fire from the ground, a sea of fire that erupted around Darkseid, threatening to burn any living thing within it. However, in the midst of that blazing ring of fire, Darkseid stood firm, motionless like a divine tower. The Hellfire did not cause any harm, as if his very presence overcame all laws of burning and punishment. As the Omega energy tore through space, it charged straight at Ghost Rider with terrifying force. The Hellfire was immediately shaken, and Johnny Blaze fell to his knees in the midst of the devastated battlefield. The surrounding air seemed to freeze, carrying with it a suffocating feeling from Darkseid's heavy presence. But even though he was knocked down, Johnny refused to lie still. He stood up, his body burning, his eyes burning, as if challenging all fate. However, an invisible force had crept through every muscle, penetrating his nervous system like invisible chains. Darkseid, without even touching anything, used his telekinetic powers to lift Ghost Rider off the ground. The flames surrounding him slowly died down, and the ghostly form slowly faded away. Standing in the haze, Ghost Rider retreated into the darkness, returning to his fragile human form. Darkseid towered over the smoldering ruins, his voice as cold as a death sentence. Without a second warning, Darkseid used his telepathic powers to lift a metal bench and launch it straight at the momentarily vulnerable Johnny Blaze. Blaze quickly rolled to the side, avoiding the blow, then jumped high into the air, rushing towards a shattered glass window of the burning old church. His body slammed into the shattered bench. The sound of rotten wood and metal breaking rang out. When Johnny raised his head, his eyes locked on a cracked gargoyle that was tottering right above Darkseid. Blaze grabbed a large board, throwing it like a blade into the cracked statue. In a fateful moment, the gargoyle broke free from its pedestal, landing directly where Darkseid stood, creating a horrific collision. Taking advantage of that moment, Blaze charged towards the broken windows, blasting through the escape route, his body bursting into flames and transforming back into Ghost Rider. He summoned his familiar hellish motorcycle, ready to fight again, this time with the full fury of his soul. Darkseid teleported from the church and materialized behind Ghost Rider. But before the Lord of Apocalypse could react, Johnny elbowed him in the face and punched him in the gut, knocking him to the ground. He grabbed Darkseid and fiercely declared, "Finally, you will be punished." He then unleashed the full force of the penance stare into Darkseid's eyes. Uxas fell to the ground and began to feel every ounce of pain he had ever caused. Every blow, every moment of despair that Darkseid had ever directly caused was projected onto him. His day of reckoning had come. He writhed on the ground. Writhing in agony, blood spurted from his chest as the full force of the Omega effect was unleashed upon him. Darkseid finally exploded in a cloud of smoke, his ashes dissolving into the sky. But then, as Ghost Rider began to walk away, he heard a hoarse voice chuckle. "Johnny Blaze, you are wrong. I am not the one responsible for that pain. You are not worthy of receiving the wrath of Ghost Rider. Let it be taken from you." Blaze once again transformed back into his human form. "But how?" he cried. Darkseid ripped his head off and left. Then his body awoke. What happened?" he asked angrily. The Lord of Apocalypse appeared with a triumphant smile. He ripped his heart out and crushed it with one hand. As Ghost Rider revived again, he thought to himself, he used his space travel powers to teleport out of the Omega Sanction and appeared next to Darkseid. But before he could throw a punch, Uxas grabbed him by the throat and slammed him into the ground. An explosion of blood and smoke filled the air as Ghost Rider's body disintegrated into oblivion. The Lord of Apocalypse walked away. His judgment day had yet to come. Ghost Rider was certainly impressive, but he was defeated in almost every category. Darkseid was stronger, more durable, smarter, and faster. The winner is Darkseid. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thanks a lot.